The story of Charles Manson being some desperate loser in the music industry is just revisionist history that the Beach Boys and Terry Melcher put out there to try and distance themselves from him as much as possible. Charles Manson was in prison in the early 1960s, and when he was in there, he was hanging out with old-time gangsters with mob ties, people like creepy Alvin Karpis. And Manson spent a lot of time playing guitar when he was in prison. And a lot of his gangster friends really liked his music. And considering that the mob basically used to run the music industry back in the day, some of his buddies gave him some phone numbers and said, hey, when you get out of prison, you should give these guys a call. We like your music. You should do something with it. So Manson gets out of prison sometime in 1967, and only a few months later, he is recording a demo album at Gold Star Studios, one of the biggest music studios in the world at the time, completely funded by Universal Music, because they were so interested in him that they decided it was worth it to fund a whole demo album for him. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would never consider a guy who's recording a demo at one of the biggest music studios in the world, completely funded by Universal, to be some kind of loser in any way. By the way, his Gold Star recording studio session is a great album. I have it on vinyl. I highly recommend it. And then obviously he goes on to start hanging out with the Beach Boys. He writes a song and even lets them record it because they liked it so much. And there were articles going around in magazines and newspapers all over the place from members of the Beach Boys and Terry Melcher praising Manson as a great up-and-coming musician who's going to have a really good run in the 70s. Like, Manson was being set up to become a big deal in the 1970s in the music industry. But then obviously the 1969 crimes happened, and that all gets thrown away, and Terry Melcher and the Beach Boys decide they're going to distance themselves from him and start telling everybody that he was a loser and they never really liked him and this and that. And the crimes are a whole different story that I could get into some other time. It had nothing to do with a cult or brainwashing. It also had nothing to do with MK Ultra. Don't buy into any of that at all. It's all just Hollywood delinquency and drug dealing, basically. But yeah, this whole idea of Manson being some loser, some desperate guy who was just clinging on to whoever he could cling on to make it in music is not true at all. These guys all loved Manson. They all loved his music. They all really wanted to get behind him and push him, but things turned out differently.